Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. Trust you're enjoying your day. I'd like to share today a bit about my own experience and understanding of what it is and why. Maybe some of you are asking, like, what on earth am I doing here? What on earth am I doing in this physical realm called Mother Earth? And I want to talk today about the soul, a bit of an idea of what a soul is, the higher self, and why do we show up here in this 3D world. So I got lucky very years ago where I had received an ultimatum from the universe while I was pursuing my career as a commercial pilot. So physically it was a well-paying job, I enjoyed it with what I was doing, things were moving along. And then when the interrupt came in from the universe, I started finding out that at one point I had volunteered. We all do, the 8.5 billion people here. We all volunteered, like myself, we volunteered showing up here on behalf of the soul. So the soul is a massive, massive entity. And you cannot, it is physically impossible to embody all that energy into the physical body. It doesn't work like that. I said from my own experience, I wanted being embodied with my soul about 6 years ago, and it came with a lot of deep work with this. So when I had my interrupt with the universe, and I found out that when I showed up to volunteer here, I volunteered on behalf of my soul to fulfill something here. So the soul puts up a contract in a place called the universe, and it's binding in law, meaning it is etched in stone. So whatever is agreed to in terms of the universe and with the soul, you cannot change that until it's properly acknowledged. So for those that are showing up here, and we're now in this 5D consciousness, the soul, when it decides to come here, when the soul decides to come to this realm, this Mother Earth place, what makes it very, very special is that there's laws where this place was created a long time ago with the clear intention, in order for a soul to cut its negative energy, the soul cannot release it on the other side. So on the spiritual side, the soul is stuck with, for the vast amount of years, however old this thing is, it cannot just go in there and just release it on its own. So the universe set up a place, like this one right here. This is the place when the soul has an ambassador that represents the soul. It has enough information that belongs to part of its higher self. And when we show up here, we have enough insight or wisdom that's provided by the soul. It might be a slice of a pie, what the soul has. And then when we show up here, we volunteered to show up here on behalf of the soul. And there's a silver cord that's from the heart that gets attached up to the soul, and it's the soul that keeps us physically alive here. Now, what bothered me at one point is, why would a soul that is so big and huge and vast, why would it decide to come here? So the laws are set up by the universe that when somebody shows up here, volunteers on behalf of the soul, this is where the essential shadow work is part of the, this is part of the experience living in this 3D world. So the three-dimensional world is a very low frequency, it's a very, very dense type of energy. The soul's been stuck with many, many other past lifetimes with going through the same nonsense. So if you can imagine, for whatever it is in this lifetime, I'll use me as the example, with the family, the culture, the religion in the background, I was stuck at one point, and from my own experiences were affected by leadership, the emotional vulnerability, and then things inherited from the culture, from the parents, from the family, the ethnicity and the lineage of things. And from the human form, especially in the low frequencies of shame, guilt, desire, grief, you include that with the feelings of pride, and anger is a nasty one, and the feeling of fear. So in this 3D world, this is when we live in this as a spiritual being, living this physical world here. The soul is massive. And when we show up here, we show up in this meat suit, or this animal suit, and we're simply here to live this 3D experience in the low, low frequency as the soul elevates way, way higher. It's not just in the 3D world, it's simply with the universe. You can go into the 5D and from there way, way higher. So when a soul decides to come here, there's a conflict with the soul. That the one part of it, it's choosing with elevating its frequency, and when it decides to come here, it's coming here with a clear intention in order to have the lower frequency energies, the lower emotional entanglements cleared out. Trust me, I'm explaining this in the right way here. So when we show up here, we get to see this physical realm, and what the soul is asking them for and praying for, that when we show up here, and use the example, at one point I found out there's the inner foundation inside of me. It was nice catching glimpses of the universe. However, I'm in this 3D world like we all are, and what I'm assigned with, and for all here, it will come here to close all the agreements down here. And once I started taking ownership and responsibility for closing up all the loops from the family, the childhood experiences right up to today, and the moment I found that feeling, whether it was sadness, grief, or anger, or hate, or rage, or resentment, whatever it is, from this lifetime, when we connect it properly with our spiritual guides, then we start clearing out and closing out the other files from the past lifetime. This way, I'm doing my part for this lifetime. I'm clearing everything out. And technically, the past lifetimes that I already lived and experienced, that the soul's accumulated with from many, many past lifetimes, that energetically starts being cleared out. And this is where, as I'm doing my part here, the soul's been stuck with either being in the high frequency and on the low frequency, and the soul is fed up with the low frequency energies. And the moment I take ownership and I start clearing it out for me down here, this then frees the soul for whatever it's been stuck with. So the soul, to give you an idea, it can be millions, billions, or trillions of years old. And it's energy that it records. And the energy, this is what we live in as a spiritual being living in a physical body. There's a physical part of us, and there's an etherical part. And the moment we're in this 3D world here, we're coming here to graduate and get out of this 3D energy. And then we can start elevating into the 4D, where you start experiencing the contrast of things in a state of neutrality. And you'll be able to perceive things without any judgment or such. And then being in the 5D is about being in the heart. And in the heart, this is where you can start tapping into other energies. And at one point, into one's soul's gifts. And each and every one of us has it. And we all come here with a different technology from the soul. And I'm sharing this because unfortunately, most of humanity is without their soul. And a lot that gets stuck in from the past lifetime experiences. And technically, the Akashic records are considered as a trap, because it's an old memory, it's an old experience, and it was never closed properly. So if you've had any past lifetime experiences, it's simply to acknowledge them and say thank you for them. And what is that from that past life experience? How does it reflect on this one, or from this lifetime? What was it from the past lifetime that was never closed properly? And it could be a thing either dealing with the lack of leadership, having a good heart and then being walked on all over, whether it's not expressing things properly, either being sick, having no stability, or loneliness, or fear, or abandonment. On the human level, you're dealing with things like war, famine, feast, poverty, greed, lust, abuse of power, corruption. And these are all very, very real things here. And the soul has the understanding that when we show up here, at some point we're all going to run into this. The soul is simply asking at one point, please do not be stuck by it. And while we're physically here, it's to reach out back to our soul and saying, hey soul, while I'm here, to reach out and ask the soul for a favor. Can you please assist me with wherever I need to be going with this? And the moment that the shadow work is cleared out and addressed with properly, we're coming here to, there's a whole other side of us, so we're coming here to do something else. So I wanted to share that for today, and some food for thought. If you have any other questions, if you like it, please like it and share it. And be kind with yourself, treat each other well. Till next time, take care.